2021. We have 4 days left of this year. As I've said many, many times, I'll be glad when this year's over. No doubt about that. Been a rough year for me, but things are really trending up. Something that a lot of people on YouTube will tell you, what I'm going to tell you today, is that using Doordash as your 100% primary source of income it's not a great idea. There's just too many variables that can go wrong that make it not sustainable. 1, there's no benefits. 2, your wear and tear of your car. 3, the app is off the chain. Those are just 3 of them. Let's talk about last night just a little bit. So last night, I worked after work. I left my job, and then I went and did Doordash for 4 hours, made $107. Well, that was a grind. I'm going to tell you right now, it was 100% grind. It was not a crazy busy night or anything like that. And it was all the tricks and tips and multi-amping. It took it all, right? Multi-amping. Let's just talk about that just for a second. I did 2 deliveries outside of Doordash last night. One was Uber Eats, picked up at the Japanese Steakhouse, went around the corner to Justice Post Road. There's some condos that line up against Chesterfield Parkway Road. Never delivered to them before. 2 miles from the restaurant, paid $16.04. The one delivery I did for Grubhub, picked up at Yaha Bistro, whatever that place is called, went to 141 and Manchester, a little bit past there between that and Big Bend to Bluefield Lane or Drive or whatever that is, paid $17.85, right off of 141. That delivery, like I said, paid $17.85. So took 2 deliveries outside of Doordash, made just about $34. Makes it real hard not to make $100. What does making $100? What does that give you? Making $100 after work. What does that give you? Gives you a ton of options. Gives you a ton of freedom. Okay, I'm gonna try to break it down as quick as I can. But of all the videos I made, listen to this one, okay? So, I'm in the trucking industry. I've made that no secret. So, what does a terminal manager make in a trucking company? I'm just going to tell you flat out what they make, okay? It's not hard to figure it out. It's between 75 and 80. Now, some of them don't pay that much. Some pay a lot less. And, yeah, if you're managing 100 trucks or something like that, it pays more. Not a whole lot more. Not a whole lot more. The top pay is even 100 trucks is probably about $100,000 a year. So, and with that comes every responsibility you can ever imagine, from who cleans the office to payroll to safety to dispatch to billing to discipline and coaching and onboarding and all that. You're responsible for absolutely everything. Now, you delegate as much as you can. You try to train people to take as much of that away from you as you can. But you're pretty much going to work 10 to 12 hours a day, and you're probably going to work 6 days a week for that 75, 80 grand a year. Now let's talk about one tier down. One tier down, right? You're just a trucking manager, right? What does that pay? That pays between 60 and 65 a year, right? So, what are your responsibilities there? About three, four 3 or 4 times less for basically $15,000 a year less, basically $300 a week less. You're probably only going to have to work 5 days a week, maybe 10 hours, and you're responsible probably for one of the things that the terminal manager, trust me, if you would just take one of those responsibilities off his plate, he'd be so grateful. So you're basically, if you're a trucking manager, you're probably either in charge of all the payroll and billing and all that, or you're in charge of the dispatch part of it, right? So, and that's your main responsibility. You may dabble in other stuff, but your responsibilities are so much less. So, which one would you rather be? Well, we've always been trained, especially my generation, to be the boss. We want to be the boss. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be, but there have been times where people would take the job as being the boss for the same amount of money just to get the plaque, people step back from that, I hope. But there was a time where that was pretty common. But what I made the decision to do, as I was looking for jobs, was take the second tier job, right? Like the job that I did take, starting January 9th is going to be 4 days on, 4 days off. Now I'm going to make $15,000 less a year. Like the company that I went to work for was like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Hey, I just don't want to be the boss anymore. I'll take that $15,000 hit, and I'll be the best assistant manager you've ever had." And now it took me like 3 or 4 tries to get a company to bite at that, but I finally did get one to bite at it. And the reason why I was able to get them to bite at it, it was a 4-day on, 4-day off thing. I was able to convince them that was such a big advantage that it was worth the pay cut. But that's not why I did it, because I can make up that $15,000 like that. You know what I mean? Like when I go to the 4-day on, 4-day off thing, I work 1 day with Doordash, right? I make the 300. That's why the 300 is so important that you have to make when you work full time doing Doordash. 1 day, I'm up to my boss's pay. 1 day, right? I work 2 days with Doordash. Now I've made $15,000 more than my boss. And I still have 2 days off every week. But still 3 or 4 times less responsibility than he has. If I work 3 days, now I'm up to $30,000 more than my boss makes. Still was 3 or 4 times less responsibility, and I'm still off 1 day, or I can work after work. Now I'm gonna start when I go to 4 days a week. I'm gonna get off an hour later. Well, let's say I just make $50 after work, and I just do that 3 days a week. That's another $7,500. So that's what Doordash gives you. So many options, so many ways to improve your situation in life. I think the next big job shortage is going to be for that top tier manager. People are going to say, give me the job below that. I think a lot of people are going to do what I just did and say, I got a little side gig going on. Why don't you give me that other job? I don't want to be the boss anymore. Hey, being the boss ain't all it's cracked up to be. Trust me. benefits you get with having a W-2, using that company to my advantage, and then also using Doordash to my advantage. There's some stress to Doordash, traffic. Right now it's pouring down rain, all that kind of stuff. That makes it, the crazy drivers, the food not being ready and all that. There's some stress to it. The ratings and the, damp and all that. There's some stress to it, but nothing like the stress of that I used to have. So my stress level's way down. And my money is way up. I've made more money since I've been working 2 jobs than I've ever made. Now, right now, I'm working too much, and that's what I got to learn to do. Is no, I don't know that. I've got to make a decision at some point of what I'm going to exactly do. Right now, I'm working 5 days a week, and being off weekends like a normal job, right? And so it's just too easy to work 3 or 4 days after work, and then work the weekends too. I don't work the whole weekend. I go to church, blah blah blah, and I've been just killing it. Making more money than I ever could have imagined, and I don't have the stress and the responsibility that I used to have. Now, when training's done at this job, it'll be a little more stressful, but not bad. Nothing like I used to have. I'll be responsible for basically one department compared to all the departments, and I'm going to make more money. And all they got to do is take pictures of food after work. I'll do it. So that's how you use Doordash. Don't use Doordash as your primary source of income. For one, the hours and everything you got to put in to make that crazy money is too much. And then that's too much on your car, in my opinion. And then there's, the fact that what if you get sick or get hurt or car breaks down, all that stuff. Would you rather get paid to go on vacation? Just get a little W-2. Just the least amount of hours possible. Crazy. It sounds crazy, but that's the way it is right now. Now, see, I'm going to be 56 in a month, so I know Doordash is going to last 10 more years. It is. The robots aren't going to take over in the next 10 years. Not all the way, anyway. So I'm pretty confident of that. And I don't need it to even last 10 years. But, for the time being, it's going to last, for sure. And that's what I needed, the time being. Hey, and then I can always be the boss again. Like I said, I think that's the next big shortage. I really do. I think what COVID has done for people is that it has taught them life is just way too short to give every piece of your soul to a company that will replace you before the obituary gets you in the paper, which there is no paper anymore. But before your funeral, they're going to have your job on it, Indeed. That's how much they care about you. That's how much Doordash cares about you. So you got to use those. You got to use those to your advantage. We need to, and young people have done that with the fast food restaurants. They have flipped that script, and the rest of us need to take a clue from them. We need to flip our script, and that's what I've tried to do. So far, it's working out unbelievably great. And and it's hopefully about ready to get better. Because some weeks I can work all 4 days of the days I'm off. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a full 10-hour day where I make $300. Now, a couple of days need to be, but not every day. Whatever I make extra over the first 300 is a big plus. You know, the first 300 I make every week with DoorDash just gets me up to my boss's salary, right? Or my boss might make a little bit more. I don't know. But of the normal terminal manager job, just one day. And that would leave me 3 days off, right? Now, if I work another day, that puts me $300 above him. Now, then there's wear and tear on my car, all that stuff. I get it, I understand. But then if I work a couple days during the week too, now I might not make 100, but I might make 50. I gotta drive by Chesterfield on my way home. So if I just make 50 3 or 4 times a week, that's 150, 200 extra. You know, you got to use everything at your disposal to make your life better. And then try to give yourself as much off time as you can too. Don't make your job your life. It's just part of your life. I spent way too many years giving everything I got to a company who could have cared less about me. And a lot of people get that with DoorDash. DoorDash don't care about it. No, they don't. So don't care too much about them either. You know, care about you. Bet on you. That's what a lot of these guys say, right? So, tried to make a video to help people understand how to use DoorDash or any gig job that you might have to make your life better. Because if I did work 3 or 4 days one week on my off days, maybe I could take all 4 days off another. You know, I could work 4 days and then the next 4 days go on a fishing trip. You know, work 8 days in a row and then use the next 4 days to go to Vegas or whatever. You know, the money should be there because, you know, as long as I average 2 days with DoorDash on those 4 days off, you know, I'm going to make more money than I've ever made in my whole life with half the responsibility that I would have if I was the big boss. And then, you know, it's just hard to explain the difference. You know, the difference in responsibility. The normal trucking manager, when they go home, they go home. You know, when you're the terminal manager, you're basically, you know, a lot of it's just phone calls and stuff like that. But a lot of times you don't even have a life. and some people know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I hear other people on YouTube say similar stuff in different industries. The restaurant industry is a great example. The next big job shortage, in my opinion, is going to be the general manager, the terminal manager, those positions. Because people are going to say, no, let somebody else be the boss. I'll be like the secondary boss, and I'm gonna do something else on the side, or maybe I'm not gonna do nothing else on the side. I'm just gonna downsize. All that responsibility just ain't worth it.